What's going on? Welcome back to the Stick Drift Podcast, a podcast for all things car culture, car news, racing games, and motorsports. Today is episode 3 of the Stick Drift Podcast.
Whoa.
Exactly. Make sure to subscribe to this channel right here, as well as the video channel, because don't worry, if you don't have 1 hour every single week to watch the full video, you can check out the individual segments with editing on the Stick Drift channel. They're all linked below. And you can just subscribe to this one here. Leave a like on the podcast
This
as well.
one's more important, though. This one.
Exactly. It's up to the
Superior
podcast.
viewers watch to the full.
Exactly. And I mean, hey, once this, if the podcast gets monetized, this is where the join button will be. And then the members only content will be.
And then you get member perks. Whoa.
Exactly.
Who knows what they'll be, but
exactly.
they will exist.
I mean, I've thought about that, to be fair. I've given it some thought. I just thought like stuff like there's this Weekly Planet. They do movie stuff. They're basically this, but instead it replaced cars with movies, and then it's the exact same thing. It's just everything to do with that. There's like Caravan of Garbage they do, where they'll just watch an old movie and then talk about it. Not even the watching it. It will just be the talking about it. There's many car-themed movies. There's all of the Fast and Furiouses, Need for Speed, Torque, stuff like that. There is so endless amounts of car-themed movies. There can be those. We could just go on a game for like an hour, or not even an hour.
Have them listen to it live. I mean.
Exactly, yeah. Can have listening live, stuff like that. All of that will probably only be £5 a month. It makes sense. That's, I mean, it's only probably only gonna be like one extra thing a week, but
you only get 5. Was it 4 episodes a month anyway? So.
Yeah. So exactly, you know, I think it would be worth it, and I've given it that consideration.
Yeah.
Of the join button on this podcast, giving that extra content. I'll have like one members post. You can go to that, and I'll probably set up some stuff in my Discord, the SidWaj Discord, and you'll have the specific channels there as well. You'll have a role there, and yeah, you'll get a bunch of extra content, which will come around when this podcast gets monetized, which will be very cool. Hopefully, eventually, we'll be able to make it to 1,000. But we will have to put in the work to actually get the watch time, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Which,
you can't stream the crew on this channel, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the issue. Can't just use the small YouTuber hack of just stream, and you'll get it. I mean, I don't think it's gonna take like a whole year, but it could take a whole year.
It'd take a while.
I mean, obviously,
considering
the podcast is gonna grow, so you hope it's exponential, like like my main channel was.
Yeah,
that's
You'd
the
hope.
hope. Yeah.
What show is actually getting paid for that? I think about it. It's only once a week.
I mean, that's the same thing with my wheel gameplay only channel. Stick Drift right now, the podcast channel, is on 77 hours of watch time, and my wheel gameplay channel, which mind you is on just under double the subscriber count. Just a little flex. I just threw that into flex there.
yeah, sure, I guess.
That is only on 35 hours of watch time so far, and that's daily. Like, that's outrageous. It's gonna take some time growing both the Stick Drift podcast and SidWaj. Stick Drift is, of course, that one's more for promotion and the shorter versions of the videos. But speaking of the Stick Drift podcast and the future of the Stick Drift podcast, I am taking this time right now on this car culture, and most definitely racing games themed podcast to call out some YouTubers. I am saying from next week. Now, the way the guests will work on the podcast, you'll still get the main podcast, because obviously it's weird to, like, with the Animosity podcast, we just talked about whatever. Like, it was a bullshitting podcast. So you could just chuck in a guest and then talk to them. There wasn't, like, an obligation. But here it is, car culture, that stuff, and stuff goes on that it wouldn't really work when we're like, hey, SUVs of the week, and it's some YouTuber who's on.
SUVs of the week is a universal topic, though. That works on anything.
Yeah, that'll go for anyone. But so the plan is that you'll get the normal show, and then I'll do more of like an interview style thing. Then that'll go in the middle of the week. So obviously you get your podcast episode on Sundays, but then because those things could go for like an hour, 2 hours, I'll do the interview style thing, and I'll try and whack that up on Wednesday. So when there's a guest, you'll get not only the Sunday episode, but you'll get the Wednesday episode too, and maybe some exclusive content when the podcast monetized. You'll get some exclusive content with the guest or whatever, really. But yes, I want to call some people out. First, subscribe to the Stick Drift podcast. Subscribe to Stick Drift, because I know I'm going to be making this a video. Subscribe to Stick Drift and subscribe to the podcast channel as well. I mean, the names to chuck out. The first one that comes to mind, who I had some interactions with recently, Alex7. I think
Alex7's cool.
He's really cool. But I think the best time to have Alex on, I want to have him on like right now, but the best time is to wait till there's TDU news. Because I mean,
you could have him on twice. I mean,
that is to be fair.
Nothing stopping you.
With how little TDU news there is, it probably would be enough of a time gap that could happen now, and then have him on for TDU news when that ever happens.
Yeah, because we're not hearing anything about TDU for a while. I can guarantee you that.
I tweeted about that today, that some TDU news would be nice, please and thank you. I hope that reaches Nacon. That should
Nacon themselves are going to see that and be like, whoa, should I ask for more news? Quick.
Yeah, they'll reply BRB to that tweet.
Yeah.
But Alex7 would be very cool to have. He's a TDU YouTuber. I believe, let me bring him up. One thing, you know what? It's calling out in a jokey sense, but Alex, sort out your SEO. Alex number 7 doesn't come up. You have to search Alex VII for it to come up. So bloody work on that search engine optimization. He just did up his streaming video room recently.
Did he move, or is it just a room makeover?
I'm not sure. I know he did like a full thing. He was in the UK recently as well.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I know. Poor guy. Poor guy. We're gonna do a collab, but I couldn't. There was family stuff, so there wasn't. Because I still live with my family, so it's a weird one to sort out. But yes, TDU News at 23,500 subscribers. He's the TDU guy, really.
I thought he had more like 40k, but
I think it's because me and him sort of when we first interacted was when I came to exactly his size. So it was, I assume in your head it was like size, but then Crew got the Forsberg update and TDU
maybe I'm just saying his content is on such a level that he deserves more subs.
Honestly, it's the Crew effect, right? The Crew's not big enough. TDU doesn't have anything going on.
TDU doesn't exist.
Like, it's radio silence. One sec.
We saw
oh, you can carry on. You know what? You carry on. I'll 1 sec.
We saw a Lamborghini in a white void. If that isn't worth 8 million views, I don't know what is. But I don't know when it is we're gonna see TDU news, because the game was meant to come out September this year, and that wasn't gonna happen, obviously, because it was the delay announcement. The gameplay we got shown was a car in a white void, so that game is nowhere near finished. So the end of September release date was way too ambitious. And was it delayed to? I think I saw Q1 2023. Because something had had anything. I don't know if that's happening still.
So what was this TDU?
The new release date's Q1 2023, and considering we hadn't seen anything.
So yeah.
Not exactly.
Alex7 on the podcast. You've been called out. Your move. And again, I guess can't just have him on twice and then have him on again once there actually is TDU news to talk about, really. I want to do some main channel stuff with him as well. He's obviously been sorting out his streaming and gaming room, etc., etc. Next on the list, You know what? Someone who I talk to semi-frequently as well, Paragleber. Now, a very cool, and I don't know how to pronounce that. I think it's Gleiber, actually.
He has a cool accent, so it'd be cool to have
Yeah, I've watched him on Twitch a fair few times, but the cool thing with Paragleber, right, is I don't even know when, but I remember watching his stuff. I remember like I don't even remember what it was. I assume it was like the stuff he does where he does like comparison and
the comparisons.
yeah, it'll be like a big jump throughout all like racing games, like 20 games, or top speed in 20 racing games.
Yeah,
that kind of thing. But I remember I watched a bunch of his stuff, and then, but this was like years ago, like genuinely like maybe half a decade ago, that kind of numbers. And then I came round and I've done the crew stuff, and then now I've been interacting with him, and I thought that was very cool. 93.6 thousand subscribers, very close to the damn silver play button. Exactly. And I'm sure Need for Speed, the new one, will definitely do that for him. Especially, okay, you know what? I may be exposing something here. It's smart as hell, and I don't know if he would be okay with me saying this, but it's smart. It's very smart. I respect
leaking
it.
Industry secrets, I guess.
Yeah, I respect it. That's why I'm talking about it. He did say that he's got footage of cars, because the full car list came out for Need for Speed. He's got footage of all the cars that are in that Need for Speed and in older ones. And he's gotten all the older ones footage, so he can do this car through all Need for Speeds, and just has to go on and get the last car's footage. And it's big brain is what it is. It's very smart. I mean, I'm sure people will have this. I mean, I should probably do the same thing with Crew, Forza, and Unbound, because you're gonna see so many of those, like, because they're the big three now.
The Crew versus Need for Speed, I feel, would do well.
Yeah, that always does, really. I mean, it's sort of just that thing. Like Crew versus Forza did well when those were the two most recent. Crew versus Heat, someone who I'm also going to be calling out, Average Game Reviews. He also did Crew versus Heat versus, I think that's when Forza 4 was out, I want to say, but it could have been 5.
Yeah, around that time, I think.
Yeah. But that sort of thing, and now Unbound is going to be taking the place of Need for Speed there. But yeah, I'd love to have Paragleber on the podcast. So he's been called out. And moving on to Average Game Reviews, also someone that I was actually previously in a sub war with on in my Reddit series, because I do those because it's mutual interaction, it grows everyone, so it's a win-win.
I don't know if the audience would believe this, but he reviews stuff like
I know that's wild.
Yeah, I don't know if you can guess that from the name, but it's quite the guess.
Yep, at 17.6 thousand subscribers, he does content like I said, Crew versus Forza versus Need for Speed.
A Crew 2 in 2022.
Yeah, Crew 2 in 2022. No Man's Sky, Ghost Recon. He's that sort of, is it still worth it kind of reviewer. I see stuff like that. Like, I think it's White Light, or if it's, or maybe it's someone like White Light. He's the one that did the like 40-minute Crew review when that came out.
I've never seen it.
But he does stuff like 6 years later, Watch Dogs 1, 6 years later, this specific game, 7 years later, stuff like that, like Assassin's Creed. But it's that kind of stuff, like a catch-up. Is it still good? A Sail Corsa, is it the best? I'd be very happy to have Average Game Reviews on the podcast, under one condition. He actually tells me his name. I don't even have to put it in the podcast. It'd just be cool to know his name.
Docs the man live, I guess.
Yeah. If he's feeling it, like, under one condition.
And address, and credit card number, and the 3 numbers in the back.
I wouldn't mind his postcode, too. If he could just give me his exact coordinates.
If he could put that in main chat.
Yeah, if I could whack him on my Find My iPhone just 24/7, I think he can come on the podcast.
Just game reviews okay, and just walking out and just go up to him, just like, hello.
Exactly. And I could say his name to him.
Normal interaction, I guess, just hi, and then name, and then walk off, just go home.
Exactly. Found you. Someone else who is in the Crew too, again, will definitely be having a lot of fun once Unbound comes out, Also, I've been interacting with a decent amount recently on Twitter, etc. Each other's streams. Craptastic Jack. I remember. I think I must have watched a couple of his other videos too, but also you're being called out, Jack. Yeah, I think I called him Crapstick Jack one too many times, and then I actually read his name properly, and I feel really bad about it now.
I've seen a few of his streams where he plays older Need for Speed.
I mean, you would have seen his video when the crew first announced the Motor Pass. He did a video where it's Trump. The thumbnail is Trump holding the Motor Pass system, and it's just him complaining about it.
I think I have seen
yeah, because that was big when the first thing came out. He was a big advocate for why removing cops from Crew 1 to Crew 2. That kind of stuff, you know. He's into those kind of games, like the cop chase. And I don't blame him. I grew up with Hot Pursuit, so. But yeah, I'd love to have him on the podcast too. He's in the racing game genre. I mean, the thing is, right? Obviously, it's a car culture podcast, etc.
Yeah.
I'm in the racing game industry, so it's just easier to go for them rather than...
You say racing game is the Crew 2, and then one or two Forza or Need for Speed.
Yes. In the racing game industry, but you know, it sucks to, you know, we can't just ring up Senna Jr. or whoever. I don't know.
Senna Jr. Yeah, go on.
But yeah, so it's easier to go to this industry. I'm sure Jack would have some... Obviously, if these people did come on the podcast, it wouldn't... I keep the Crew 2 separate mostly from this podcast. The podcast is the podcast rather than just the Crew 2.
The Crew 2's too hard not to reference. Like, everything's a Crew reference when you think about it.
But I'm sure it would be some fun dogging on the Crew 2, talking about the new Need for Speed if he did come on. And yeah, I watched this video way back when, and then I think I used clips of him in my Motor Pass documentary that he did. He did say that he watched that, but he watched just the bit with him in it.
Documentary?
Yeah, my Motor Pass documentary, because I start talking about, because the chase, I start talking about police, and I use his clip talking about police. And he did say that he watched just that bit, which, yeah, I don't blame him for. Just the bit with him in it. And yeah, I've been in his stream a couple times, and it would be cool to have him on this podcast. Other people, okay, you know what? I'm gonna start.
You just call out every single person who's made a video on a racing game at this point.
Yeah, well, people who I have connection with, at least to a degree where I could get them on, right? Like, I'm not gonna say Black Panther, because the guy's on 1 million subs, probably has better things to do. I'm a 50k sub Andy. You know, it's. I wouldn't expect him to come on the podcast, and he doesn't follow me back on Twitter, so I can't just like reach out and check. You know, Kurohas is in racing games, but he's a different side of it, where he plays just old racing games. Like, that's his main thing. Is he just plays old racing games, kind of thing. So there's a disconnect there. I couldn't get in touch with him really. I don't think. Who else? I mean, obviously AR12, I wouldn't be able to get in touch with.
Yeah.
But someone who I would be able to get in touch with, and I would love to have on the podcast, is Ewan. And I never know how to pronounce his
Ewan or
surname.
Yoan? I think it's Yoan, isn't it?
I used to say Yoan, but then someone told me it was Ewan, and now I say Ewan, but it's still Yoan.
Ewan spelled with an I for me. Like, that's how I think. Yeah.
But
sure.
Ewan... Or Yoan, my bad.
Or any other pronunciation.
Yeah. Did a video on the Crew 3 a while ago, things people would want to see, but he does a bunch of Forza content is his main thing. And I mean, I assume it seems at least it's like me. He's like me for real. Because he seems to also be subject to the thing where it's like any other game except Forza, and it won't do as well as anything to do with Forza.
Yeah.
Because I saw TDU, his TDU video didn't do as well. Crew 3 video, I
stuck
think
in a sub-genre.
Well. Yeah, and I mean, it's the same with me, right? It sucks. And I mean, I'm sure that would be a great thing to talk about and discuss. But yeah, at 20.
Hey, isn't it great being stuck playing this game?
Yeah, doesn't it suck? At 213,000 subscribers, Ewan does a bunch of Forza content. He's chilling. He is absolutely chilling. I remember the first time I saw him in any capacity was and I wonder if this is a thing for him, because I remember this video got way big, was turning YouTubers into Cars, like Cars from Cars the movie. He did that. It was just like a Photoshop video. He did that, and because he did names like the Sidemen and whatnot, it was on their Reddits and it was on their like that stuff. So it got put into the reaction cycle, and I saw him on that, and it's kind of cool to see that he got into from that, which went kind of mainstream, to just Forza. Like, he's genuinely Forza content now. That's a cool way.
Mini Minute as a car to Forza gameplay.
Exactly. You know, that's the one you hope for. But yeah, Yoan would be, or Ewan, I don't know. I'm so sorry.
Or any other pronunciation.
You know what? Make like average game reviews and come on here just to tell me your name. If you did come here, then you could tell me your name.
You could clarify. That would be helpful.
Exactly. You know,
because you can't do it over any other means. It has to be on here.
Exactly. But he seems eager to videos on the crew too. I assume the same that he is with anything to do with TDU, etc. But honestly, the man's got a career off Forza, and it's not like he does bad. If I take,
I'm sure it's great if he enjoys Forza.
Exactly. That's the thing, right? It's like for me, I make a point to have the crew 2 just outside of my direct attachment. So if I really hate the game, I can still pick it up and do it for work. It's the thing. If he's got that on lock, then I'm sure he's fine. But if I look at my CPM compared to my view count compared to his view count, it's his job most definitely. He's set, right? Like if
he's on the same CPM as you, then
And Forza is a lot more secure than the Crew 2 is. Especially with the Crew 3 not confirmed. We'll get onto that in a minute. But especially not with the Crew 3 confirmed. He could make videos up to Forza Horizon.
There will always be Forza content
50.
to make videos on.
Exactly. And I've been looking. I'm inspired is the YouTube word to use for it. But the old grab and twist. The video ideas that he does, where it's like top 10 of this kind of car, 10 cars that you need for this, 9 things that you know about this. Right, I might do that, but for the Crew 2, because there's probably a market for it, and I've needed something to really jive.
It'll be a break from the fails and funny moments.
Yeah, might need to do one of those soon. I'm falling behind. It would be, Rookie to Icon was the recent thing that really the channel, which was cool. But yeah, it would be cool to have all of those people on the podcast. I don't. Maybe there's someone else. I don't know. Ivory Tower. I'm close with you boys.
John Ivory Tower needs to come on.
Yeah, the founder of Ivory Tower, Jonathan Ivory Tower himself.
CFO of Ivory Tower would actually be a banger interview.
It would be. It really would be. I'm
Your
sure
hero interview would have done.
Yeah.
Would have been cool as well here, but yeah.
Stuff like that. People in the industry, and hey, people in the car industry would be brilliant too. It's just.
We don't get like Nissan CFO.
Yeah, like who do you even interview other than like actual racers? And I unless I've got Latifi on speed dial, I don't think that's gonna happen.
That would be best. It would be legendary. Ever.
Yeah.
Like that is end goal.
That's the end goal. That's when we know. No silver play button.
Once you see Latifi interview episode number like 300, it ends after that. It just channel gets deleted.
When you see the thumbnail title, what Latifi really thinks of F1, the channel's gone clear. That's the outro music. The TikTok outro music meme starts playing then because it's done. The podcast has made it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I mean, racing game content will help racing game people will also help bring over some more SidWaj subscribers over to the podcast. And hopefully, I mean, obviously the goal is to get the podcast to be running on its own, which it's been doing its thing. But yeah, those are the YouTubers who I want to see on the podcast. Comment down below who else you would want to see on the Stick Drift
within
podcast.
a reasonable sub range.
Yeah, like I get.
Don't just put like PewDiePie or something.
Because so many people say to me, Sid, just do a video with Black Panther. So much more complicated
Well, that'd
than
be
that.
cool.
Yeah. Theo, you're ready? We're filming tonight. You know, I'm not gonna be the small YouTuber Andy who's gonna, you know, like Black Panther. Please collab with me.
Yeah,
please,
you only
please.
have 43k
Yeah,
subs.
when the man's on a mill, it's gotta be his decision to do a collab. Which I mean, I respect him. He's done.
He's got to agree to it anyway. Even if you got like 3, but he can't just force it.
But I mean, as in what I mean, like he's got to initiate it. Really.
Yeah.
Because
it's his choice.
Yeah. But that's the thing, right? Like again, he doesn't follow me on Twitter, so it's like I can't even ask him for anything.
Basically irrelevant if he doesn't follow you on Twitter.
I know, I'm fuming and livid. But yeah, keep it within reason. Who else would you want to see on the podcast in the racing game genre? I mean, I think those
and
are
if any of you know Latifi personally, please.
Oh, I mean, there's also, I guess, kind of like the Alex 7, etc. But there's LP Ripper. He does. He's done stuff in racing game content. I use him in the Motorsports documentary as well, actually, in the exact same segment that I used Craptastic Jack in. He also talked about the cops in the thing, but yeah, he does all of the racing games, really. But yeah, that would be cool. Getting those any of those guests.
And anyone would be cool at this point.
Hopefully with this call out. And let those YouTubers know, I guess, if you really want them on.
You say cool outs if you can't just, like, Discord one of them right now.
Yeah, but then this is free views, you know.
True.
This gets people ready. This gets people ready
Alex
for
7,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. It gets the viewers ready as well, you know. I don't want to just drop a collab or the podcast collab, I don't know, the podcast interview, whatever. I don't want to just drop it out of nowhere. I want to actually give it some hype.
Yeah.
This does that. So hopefully, expect next Wednesday. Maybe we'll have a guest on. You know, maybe we will. Let's hope. But
you can dream.
On to the actual news of the week. It feels like it was ages ago now. I don't know if it was right after. Actually. No, I will talk about the Crew 3, which is a whole thing, but because we've just done all of that, instead I will talk about, it feels like it was right after the last podcast episode, but the Paris Motor Show happened this week, and that was a lot of cars.
A lot of concepts, but
yeah. But cars that we saw at the Paris Motor Show were... there was this really goofy looking Porsche. I'll start having them on screen. There we go. We got this absolute oddball of a car at the Paris Motor Show, the Aura. Why
does it look so scared?
I just called it a knockoff Porsche when it first dropped.
Yeah, I don't know what to describe that as.
Jeep Avenger revealed an EV Jeep.
Ooh.
To be fair, they haven't gone all in on the make it look EV kind of thing. That just looks like a Jeep. If you told me that was a petrol Jeep, I'd believe you.
There's a reason there's too many Jeeps around.
I mean, yeah, I guess so. There was that teased Alpine last week. That got revealed. It looks like the next GTA plus drop car.
It's like a Gran Turismo concept car. Like it's
yeah.
Is it not Gran Turismo Alpine.
Is it Alpine? Oh, whatever. Peen, funny, haha. Okay, it's Alpine now. But yeah, that concept car was at the Paris Motor Show. There was also this thing. I don't know what it is. Luxury
Well, it looks
FCEV?
like a mixture of a Polestar and a Tesla. Like what?
Yeah. Range for 620 miles. Is that a lot?
Claimed.
I mean, yeah, it's claimed, I guess. But is that a lot? I don't know if that's a lot.
A petrol car can do that, so.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, they're catching up eventually. I think this was at the Paris Motor Show.
It'll be 130 grand. No one will buy it, and they'll go bankrupt in 5 years.
Exactly. I wouldn't expect to see this anywhere. It looks concept.
Yeah.
It's these kind of fronts. You can tell when it's this kind of a front. It never makes it to market. Like,
you mean the design like that wouldn't be very practical to mass produce?
Exactly. What? It's always these kind of designs. You never
imagine if that headlight goes out. Look how complicated that is.
Yeah, exactly. It would be a torture. I think this one was also the Paris Motor Show. But there's a new Cadillac that got announced, and this thing, I mean,
it looks like a Cadillac.
It looks pretty. I think it's EV. I want to say. God, why is this?
Considering the grill's boxed over, yeah. Why is it so big?
It really is.
Like it's in a state, kind of.
What is this light?
But like you lose so much of the practicality of an estate because the roof slopes down.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what it's.
From the front, it just is like a CTS, and then from the back.
I think
someone needs to be fired.
If it did slope down, like come down to like a normal boot kind of thing, I don't think it would be. It would just be a Cadillac. It would just be a modern-looking Cadillac.
It's just comically long. Why does it extend so really far over the rear wheels?
It's very long for some reason. The lights look interesting to say the least, but
the front looks cool. The back, no.
There's one I will come back to. But one of the ones that you, I believe, liked and had opinion on was the Renault 5 was at the Paris Motor Show, and apparently
the reason I liked it is because they said that if they can find enough money, they'll put it into production.
Yeah, I mean
that would be if it released like that without the rear wing. Obviously, it's got like a Crusoe style rear wing.
I didn't even notice that. What?
If it because obviously it's not going to have the rear wing. Yeah. It's probably not going to have the wide body or the front splitter. But it will be a cool little hatchback.
I'm expecting it won't keep this livery as well. This
You never know. You never know.
Yeah.
Neon yellow with zebra pattern on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it releases as like a standard hatch, that will be cool.
You know what it looks like to me? It looks like someone riced a car from the 90s. It looks like someone took a hatchback from the 90s, like a Mini.
Would you believe it's supposed to look like an 80s, 90s Renault 5?
Well, there you go, right? It looks like someone...
That's all I'm saying.
Exactly. It looks like someone took something like that, or like a Mini, and just... put it into Need for Speed, is what it looks like.
It looks cool. This could be a Summit car from the Crow. It looks cool.
Yeah, it does look cool. And if it made it to production and actually got into the cycle of racing games, it would be kind of cool to drive. It does look cool. And I mean, with that thing, along with... Well, it would be EV, would it?
Yeah.
I guess
I'd assume with four-wheel drivers. If it is all-wheel drive EV, it will be a cool car.
Yeah, and I mean, that, along with the thing in the background, you can see the other Renault, I think they'll be alright. The other one that they're doing.
The other EV they're thinking about making.
Yeah,
Dacia might actually have some good cars sometime in the future.
A Dacia Concept looks very off-road. Oh, what are those tires?
They're definitely going to make that.
Yeah, God.
What even is that? Like,
no, I don't know.
What is that meant to be concepting? We could make what
looks like a Halo car, but
I don't get it.
Yeah. Speaking of Renault, they also had finally like a visual reveal of this thing.
They will turn that into an SUV. I guarantee it.
I mean, it is an SUV, is it? No, it looks it already.
They'll remove the wide body it's got. They'll tuck the wheels right in, lower it a bit, and just smooth it out, and it'll be an SUV.
Turn it into a traditional SUV,
just a box standard Renault SUV.
The road SUVs, really. Yeah.
It wouldn't have that front bumper on it, I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, it wouldn't have the roof thing. It'll just... It'll
just be smoothed out and lowered and turned into an SUV because
And
Money.
and if they did do that, it would just look like an American-size hatchback. Like,
Yeah.
picturing that now, picturing exactly what you described. No wide body, wheels tucked in, no, not that beefy front bumper. It would just be American-size hatchback. Like,
Yeah.
too much road space than they know what to do with. Everything is like of a ratio to 1:5 hatchback. Like,
Yeah.
just slightly beefier
I mean,
looking.
they can't have all their cars be good. That would just be illegal.
Yeah. But I mean, what is the Paris Motor Show? Is it just like
I'd assume it's in Paris and it's a motor
a
show.
wild guess? Yeah. What is it? Comic-Con, but for like for car people. It's the car nerds Comic-Con.
I'd assume it's like Gamescom, but like I don't know, car brands announce their cars here, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I should go out to one and meet famous cars.
Yeah, interview the Renault 4 guy.
I should, yeah. But yeah, that happened sort of at the very beginning of the week, but basically after the episode that we did.
None of those cars will ever exist.
Yeah, I mean, what we'll get
Apart
this
from the Jeep.
Like,
I doubt that exists. I've seen one of those before,
okay, I
unfortunately.
haven't.
And maybe the Renault,
the Cadillac,
hatch thing
obviously,
will exist. The 5 might get made.
Yeah.
If Renault can find enough money, which is code for they're not going to find enough money.
Yeah. I mean, it's Renault. They have money, right? Renault sells.
When was the last time Renault made a good car?
I mean,
What's the last iconic Renault you remember?
Have they made any SUVs recently?
Yes.
Then yeah, they've got money.
Yeah.
Then. Yeah, they've got money. if they've made SUVs,
Yeah.
they have money. It's the life hack. So that probably will. I would wager that will make it to
It won't look anything
production.
like
No,
that though. If it released like that for sub 60 grand, they'd be everywhere.
Yeah.
But it won't.
There is stuff here that I kind of want to leave. I mean, I guess I could chuck in a couple of car announcements that weren't, or maybe weren't part of the motor show. I don't follow it too closely, right? So I was asking what it bloody was. This Porsche, the GT3 RS.
Why is it like a Hot Wheel?
I don't know. It's a weird render of it because I know
It's
this
all
thing
white
exists.
with a green stripe and green wheels. Like,
Yeah,
what
it's
is
very
that?
gimmicky looking. Yeah. But this thing. It's an homage, right? It's supposed to. It's a tribute to the
what?
Carrera RS. Like, yeah. I've seen it recently. It comes sporty looking, I guess.
It's gonna cost way too much for what it is. So
Guess.
no,
Guess.
173.
314,000.
Why? You could buy 2 R8s for that. Like, why even bother?
Yeah.
You could buy a house and an R8 for that.
Yeah. That is outrageous. Yeah. Oh my. But it's like a tribute and it comes stock track looking, which is, I guess, is cool.
Oh.
Yeah.
Stuck with a mismatched hood and green wheels.
Yeah. It looks racing game design, is what it looks. It looks like
It's like it's the like announcing the for a game.
and it's like an exclusive edition, like the Forza edition Porsche. But that's a new
Xbox
Porsche.
edition.
Speaking of new Porsches, the Porsche Taycan was spotted a sport what did they call it? Performance version of the Porsche Taycan. My dream cars get
It's
a performance
lower
version.
with a spoiler and a
Yeah.
small front splitter.
Like,
Mad.
they haven't made it look more sports car like.
It still
They've
looks
just
massive.
put on a splitter.
Yeah.
And it's still a sedan. It's a city car still. I don't know. A sedan.
I know it's not a city car.
Well,
I can guarantee you that is a car class, and that wouldn't even become close to fitting in it.
Oh no, not as in city cars, as in like the concept thing, the Ollie or whatever, the Ami. Not that kind of city car. I mean, like, you'd see something like that driving in London or something.
I've seen
like,
it taken in Bickleswade, so
that's
I mean,
still a driving around town car. But they've just whacked a spoiler
they are
on it and a
so
splitter
big
on it.
though, like
Yeah.
unnecessarily
I've seen
large.
like two. It was two within like 10 meters of each other. A white one and a black one. But yeah, they are big. But
I assume it makes more power and has like better suspension or something.
road car. I guess that's what I mean. It's still a road car.
Yeah.
But just with a splitter and a spoiler.
It's
like
not going to break any lap records.
Yeah, that's the only performance that they've done there, really.
It would just be quicker in a straight line. Like,
exactly, yeah. That's all it'll be. And if I got one, I probably would just get the normal one.
If I got one. Like, the Taken Turbo S is 178 grand.
Exactly, you know.
That's going to be over 200.
Yeah. If Raid Shadow Legends ever, I don't know, sponsored the podcast main channel, clips channel, podcast second channel, and DriftWaj, maybe I could get away with buying a Taken for that. But hey, maybe I'll have to settle with a GTA E6 eventually.
I like how they censored the players if I'm going to steal the play of a concept car. Thank you. Thank you.
I wonder when they got their MOT done. But I mean, it's wrapped up, so it's clearly not meant to be seen just yet.
What do you just wrapped up?
I don't know. I don't know if you can see with how small it is. It's got like, I don't know if it's tape. It looks like duct tape.
They probably just taped over the air vents on the roof for testing. I'd imagine.
Stuff like that, I guess. But cars spotted on the track in account. This thing in again the old squiggly livery. The BMW M5.
I hate the front of that car.
It looks like an M2, but swollen. Like the new M2.
The issue is, like, what is the 2022 BMW M5 weight? It's given to me in pounds. 1.9 tons at the minute, right? And they're adding a hybrid system to it.
Yeah.
That's going to be 2.3 tons minimum.
Yeah.
Like that's not a performance car anymore. It's a bus.
Yeah, and it's just like BMW. They're really just making cars.
The front of that
exist.
car needs to be scrapped.
Yeah.
I said the M2 was bad. That's worse. Put the M2 front on it.
They're just making cars that just exist. They're traffic. They're AI traffic. I remember what car we said that same thing about a car last week. It's AI traffic is what it is.
Yeah.
It's the most bland looking, like in black. It would belong to every drug dealer in London. Like, it's just that.
Like, there's no way to tell the difference, apart from the badge, between that and a 3 Series, really, is like a base model 3 Series and that. At a glance, you couldn't tell the difference.
It's atrocious, really.
And one weighs about as much as a tank. So
exactly. Like, there's no point in bothering with something like that. Also, another new car announced was, obviously this one wasn't announced, this one was spotted, just like the Taken, but another new Porsche, bloody clogging up this goddamn section. The Porsche Carrera T. It's a Porsche, but a Porsche.
That definitely does look like a Porsche.
It looks like a it's just the Carrera. It's just like what?
What is different between that and the Carrera? Like, it's got different suspension.
I think it looks a bit flatter. Like
I'd assume like T is for turbo. I'd assume.
Porsche lightweight version of the entry-level 992, manual gearbox, 0 to 64.5 seconds, no back seats, thinner glass, less soundproofing.
It had back seats.
Apparently, 8,700 more than the standard Carrera, but it's worth 8,700 more than an entry-level but is it?
It's a question.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say that's a claim that it just is worth.
It's not worth more than.
You couldn't tell, like you.
No. And I doubt the losing the 40 kilos makes it feel much quicker.
Exactly. Yeah. You
paid 8.7 grand when you could just take out the rear seats yourself.
Exactly. What is the difference? You see this driving, or just the 992 stock driving? I mean, I don't even know what the 992 looks like.
It looks like that, I imagine.
Exactly. Without the T, it's the same car. Like, it is.
Oh, but it has thinner glass.
Oh my god, thinner glass, so you can get broken into easier. Yes, let's go.
I get a load and get stolen. They can hit new speed runs on stealing it.
Yeah. But I think that is most of the new cars that were revealed
The
or
first look at
announced.
the Ferrari SUV as well.
Well, not just yet, because
That
that
means save for later.
that is, you know, we'll come back to that one. We'll come back to that one because that one's your favorite segment of the week, which is SUVs of the week. That one is being coupled in with that.
Yeah.
But first, there is talk. Now, this happened the night that we finished filming the podcast. Was the drop of a article by Tom Henderson, known industry insider. Now, this is big enough to make its way out of the gaming segment. The Crew 3 got a massive article on all the basically current information and new information revealed about the game. And let me find that, but I guess you can talk about it for a minute while I hunt down the article.
You saw Orlando how long ago now? It's a year, almost,
yeah,
I'd say.
yeah.
And that was a small island, Hawaii, and there were like blimps with, I can't remember what they said on them because all the images have been described, but it had like a thing on it. Because you're about to say it now, but what if that is what is on the blimps and stuff now? They've just changed it from what it said before to the Motorfest. Which it would be way too like Horizon, though, in my opinion.
Yeah, so that's what it was. So it was the article that said the Crew 3 could be named Motorfest. I think that maybe cringe, take cringe, because they literally said themselves, in the article, they don't even know if it's called Motorfest, and they don't even know well, people have said it's its own game, but they don't actually know that it's called Motorfest. All they have as reference for that is that it says Motorfest on the billboards. In my opinion, that means nothing, right? It says, what, like, fruit on some of the billboards in the Crew 2, and that ain't the name of the game. On the loading menu, which, again, a loading menu says a lot of stuff. It says stuff like, Motorflix is on the loading menu in the Crew 2. That's just things on the menu to load to somewhere. But the thing that does get me is it says Motorfest on the registration plates. And the thing with that is what's currently on the registration plates in the Crew 2 is the Crew 2. And
might be vanity plates for testing.
That's my cope. That's my cope. That hopefully what that is it's a vanity plate. Hopefully this big of an expansion finally adds that very wanted from the start of the game feature, custom number plates, and hopefully
you get an expansion. Will never happen. It can't be a Cruiser expansion.
I think it is. I don't think it's its own game. So the gist of this reveal was that Motorfest is the name. It could possibly be called the Crew Motorfest, or Motorfest could be a massive feature within the game. And again, they've said, they even updated the article, Motorfest will have some connection to the Crew 2. But then they say, where players can import their car garage or start fresh. That would be insanely controversial to do, I think. I mean,
with Ivory Tower's focus on new players, I don't think it's too out of the realm.
Yeah, because they do really focus on new players.
All they care about at the minute is new players. If you played the game for more than a week, you don't exist to them. You might as well not be there.
I guess that's the thing, because the Crew has so much long-term
When was the last time they've done something to benefit people who played the game longer?
Like
everything. I need to be careful what I say. Summit changes.
Yeah.
Motor pass getting easier.
Yeah.
You know what's coming next. All of it benefits actual AIs. Like, I don't get how.
The thought process where it could make sense for me is that the Crew 2's had a lot of continued growth. It's had double year-on-year sales on the first 3 years of release.
You've seen Steam charts.
I mean, obviously not now, but at least for the first 3 years, it's had double year-on-year sales. And instead of launch, they have a lot of late-game additions to the game. So I wouldn't be surprised if giving full garage transfer to the next game is because no one has anything in the Crew 2 currently because they're all casuals. So I guess if someone already only owns 5 cars, 4 cars, I guess it makes sense to be like, oh, just bring them over.
they do it as a ticket system. It's not all cars. It's a few. So, like, you get 5 tickets to transfer cars you went in the cruiser over.
Yeah. But, I mean...
Which should just be what matters. But
yeah.
You know.
There's a big chance, and I'm hoping that all that is instead Motorfest is in the Crew 2 because...
It might be Summit cars.
It's just an expansion. Maybe, yeah, just exclusive cars.
Yeah,
that would make sense, maybe, I guess.
Motor Pass wouldn't make too much sense, but Summit cars, yeah.
Yeah, but, what's it called? I'm hoping it's an expansion to the Crew 2. So what it is the images that were revealed a while ago were of Oahu Island of Hawaii. Of course, won't be showing any of those images, wouldn't even if they were floating around.
It's the fact they collaborate with the with Orlando.
Yeah.
Because we saw Orlando, and that was Hawaii.
Yeah, and... So people say... So here's the thing. The Crew 2's niche, for those who don't play the Crew 2 and listen to the podcast, the Crew 2's niche is big map. That's the whole thing. It's big map is its niche. To go from that to one island...
It would make more sense as an expansion.
Yeah.
But with what they've been doing with the game recently, why would they do an expansion? Why, like, they're actually basically just dragging the game through the mud at the minute. And then why release something good?
I don't know. I feel like they
if they released Orlando, I'm just going to call it Orlando. If they released Orlando, I don't even think it could break a concurrent record.
I mean, I don't know. I think it would do pretty big. Depends on what features they give it, right? If they give it enough features on the island...
It's Ivory Tower. They're just going to give it the Crew 2 features, but on a different island.
If it is an expansion, it's gotten over a year's worth of development at this point. Like, it's actually
Ivory Tower development.
But it's been in development for over a year to, like, 2 years at this rate. But the thing is, some people have said, oh, maybe it's going to be 1-to-1 of Hawaii, because, I mean...
Have you seen the map?
Exactly, yeah. TDU was in Hawaii way back when, and they did 1-to-1 in Hawaii.
We've seen the map. We've seen it. Like, Orlando leaked. We saw the map. It's not 1-to-1. I can guarantee you that.
My hope on that is one thing is just, like, that's TDU's niche, and the second thing is that would take so much money.
The Dunia engine can't handle it either. Like, it can't.
A 1-to-1 would take so much money, and maybe it could be new game money. But we saw the map a year ago.
It would make sense for they're using Snowdrop and Scalar allegedly. Snowdrop and Scalar. It would make sense as a showcase to do a big 1-to-1 map for that.
Yeah.
But we've seen it. We've seen the map.
Yeah. And that's the thing. So we saw it a year ago, right? And the map, I don't know if it was done, but it was a map that they were testing on.
100-player lobbies in that as well.
But the thing is sure, if it was its own game, then maybe they would have the budget to 1-to-1 scan. But it started off as a Crew 2 expansion. And we got a look at the map while it was still a Crew 2 expansion.
Everything was Crew 2 on it. Everything.
A Crew 2 expansion is not getting 1-to-1 laser scan budget. Like, not a shot.
No.
Have you seen the motor passes? There's no shot that the Crew 2...
They didn't fix the wing on the GTR not being straight for 2 years. They're not 1-to-1ing a map.
The fact that it was originally a expansion, no shot it gets the budget to 1-to-1. It would just be a bite-size, just like the Crew 2, bite-size island.
If it's an expansion, it's at a bad time. If it's a new game...
I don't know, maybe I don't think if it's an expansion, it's terrible. I think if it's a new game...
You've got to think, right? If it's an expansion, it's just going to be a new area to drive around in.
It would be
It's going to have the exact same copy and paste cities from the Crew base map.
It'll probably have some features, though, you know? And
one new game mode and one new spec is what I'm going to say it's going to have if it's an expansion.
It'll have, like, a festival going on, too.
It will not be able to hold hype for more than 3 months.
But no racing game has ever done a festival before. That's what you're not understanding.
This is true innovation. In Hawaii, like TDU, and a festival like Forza. completely original ideas, I think,
this is the first ever festival that's ever happened. It's this. There's never even been a real life festival before. This is the first one, but I hope it's an expansion.
I hope it's good. I don't have faith in Ivory Tower to make it good. So
yeah, and I mean honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the update at the bottom, where it's new images provided, suggests that Motorfest will have some connection to the Crew 2 in some capacity where players can import their garage in the Crew 2. I wouldn't be surprised if that is misinterpreted. If whoever saw the
Orlando
knows
ones,
nothing
right?
about...
If you saw original Orlando with the Proto Mark II and the Jet Sprint boat, that could be interpreted as, oh, those are Crew 2 vehicles in Orlando, so it must be vehicle transfer, when in reality, they are 100% placeholder.
Well, what if it just says something like, drive over, or import your car over? Something like that.
If it is just a screen, import your cars from the Crew 2, and then has an image, then sure, mate.
Yeah.
But I doubt it says that.
Yeah, what if it's just misinterpreted as just
import-export from GTA being the Crew.
Where you go to, you take your cars in the Crew 2 to the expansion area in Motorfest.
Yeah.
Like, because the Crew 2's I don't know if it's a small game. It's AAA or whatever, but it's not exactly a massive game.
More than texture quality. Yeah.
I'm sure someone as big of in the industry as Tom Henderson, maybe, complete allegation, but he probably doesn't know too much about the game. I wouldn't be surprised if it's misinterpreted, the whole garage transfer or whatever, because it seems wild.
Yeah.
It seems wild to add such a feature.
But how are there so many images of it that haven't leaked online yet?
I'm baffled that none of this has been revealed yet. That is very surprising. That
it has to be someone very close in Ivory Tower. It has to be someone at Ivory Tower who's leaked this.
Yeah.
Or maybe while Forsberg was there, he got his phone out and took some images.
Forsberg was just getting away with it, yeah.
Forsberg's a leaker.
Obviously, the article was made the information was given in trade that the images were never shown. So, you know, I guess we will never know, I suppose.
Maybe he's seen the images and he has no idea about the Crew, which is very unfortunate.
Yeah. So, no, but that was pretty big. That happened literally, it dropped the night that the podcast came out, the last one. Which, buddy, weeks go on for ages when there's news, right after.
Weeks never end.
Yeah, it's insane. But that was very big news that dropped at the end of there. Very cool stuff. But from that to something even cooler, your personal favorite segment of the week. It is back. SUVs of the week!
Yes!
Today, in SUVs of the week, Dacia, a design refresh is on the cards for Dacia Duster, valued SUV, etc., etc. Value SUV, what does that mean? It's cheap?
It's cheap. Dacias are dirt cheap.
Yeah, well, a new design to the Dacia SUV comes out. We also got a first look at the Ferrari SUV. God, I got flashbang there.
Just announced now in Canada. He's the 2023 Range Rover Sport. It's announced.
Oh my God, the Range Rover Sport SUV has been announced. It's a late comer to SUV news. We've got the Ferrari SUV, which they've really... It's just going to be a Ferrari from the front. They've covered up the front, but it's just going to be a Ferrari. It does
well to not look like an SUV.
Yeah.
It looks like a very big Ferrari.
Yeah.
Not an SUV.
It just looks like those. It looks exactly like what the concepts showed that it looked like when they first announced a Ferrari SUV.
Which is surprising.
Exactly, yeah. When they first announced a Ferrari SUV, there was that one like concept render going around. It looks like that. Like it's that, but slightly flatter. Like instead of being a smallish SUV, it looks like a bloated Ferrari, really. But we've got that in SUVs of the week. That's been spotted. It's still fairly early-ish in development. It's got taped up. It's got the kind of a livery, and the front is taped up.
Yeah, very early in production.
Yeah, so the Dacia, very new, the Range Rover we've gotten. Up there, of course, from before the Paris Motor Show, we've got the look at... I'm trying to find it now. The Renault... Whatever,
Renault 4, that thing.
Yeah, the Jeep, of course.
Yeah, Yeah, the
And
Mitsubishi XFC concept
oh, I don't
thing.
even know where that is.
You put it in car news today at 12:59.
Today at 12.
12:59. It's underneath the Kia Niro NV, which is also an SUV.
Wait, it says that 2 SUVs somewhere. I'm going blind. Oh my god, Mitsubishi concept SUV.
All new
That's
Dacia
staying,
SUVs have to install some advanced safety systems to pass EU laws.
Oh,
Another
more
SUV news.
Yeah.
Then you got the Porsche Macan that was EV Macan.
Yep.
That
The
was
Kia
delayed.
Niro starts at $40,000. Safety regulations. Dacia is having to change a bunch of stuff because of them. We've got all of that
You
stuff.
can't forget best compact SUVs of
And of
2023.
course, just I saw this and I put this through the filter just because it's such a hilarious oxymoron of a title for this article from Autoblog.
If you can look at this more, by the way, the Honda CR-V, which isn't small, the Kia Sportage, this Mazda CX-50, the RAV4 is a compact SUV, according to these guys, sure.
Like
the Genesis, which we don't get, and the Porsche Macan is a wild one. Why is that one in there?
It's just to have compact and SUV in the same.
It's an oxymoron.
Yeah.
Why have they done that? Why does that list exist?
Yeah. Speaking of the Macan, the Porsche EV version of the Macan has been delayed to at least 2024.
I'm sure all 4 people that were going to buy that are devastated right now.
And we're not going to be able to have it on an SUVs of the week until 2024. No.
The fact that we've been able to have SUVs of the week 2 weeks in a row is sad. It's just sad.
Dacia, Ferrari, Range Rover, Renault, Jeep, Mitsubishi, Kia. Oh my god!
It never ends.
It's outrageous. It is outrageous.
It's just sad.
I'll chuck this into here. It's EV as well. The Kilo is the weirdest, coolest, tiny SUV.
I send that to you, but coolest, sure, like quotation marks. Because, like, what is that?
It looks like an EV.
If you hit a cyclist, you'd come off worse. Like,
it looks like an EV from the 1930s.
It's like a milk van that someone shrunk and put bicycle wheels on. I don't get it.
Like, you know how Fallout aesthetic is the 70s, but way into the future. This
60s,
is like
yeah,
same thing. This is like if they did the 1910s, but into the future.
It's a Model T pickup.
Yeah, it's an electric Model T. Like it's what it looks like.
I don't get it. Why has it got a tow on the front? You're not hitting the track in that thing.
Yeah.
It hasn't got doors or a roof.
Yeah, it's so
I don't
outrageous. Those seats, those look like bus seats. Like what?
It won't sell.
No, it's purely just a gimmick to make. It's got a radiator on the front.
It's not. I don't think that's a radiator. That's either a motor or the batteries.
As in, it looks
and if
like
that's
a
the
radiator.
batteries, good luck hitting anything.
Yeah, but it like, like my radiators don't look like that. I've been around many old people's houses whose radiators look like that.
Yeah.
That is.
It has disc brakes up front, but they're probably from a bicycle or something. Like,
should have rim brakes, is what it should.
Like, they were contemplating whether needing a license for an e-scooter. You don't need a license for this. Like, just throw it out on the road.
It is shocking. I will also chuck it to here with cool cars, I guess. But a track version of the
That is unironically cool. Like, that is
genuinely cool looking.
It's slammed, wide-bodied, with a massive front splitter and rear spoiler. Like, it's actually cool.
It's got a bonnet spoiler. Like, what? It looks sick. It makes me question, is the Multipla bad looking? It is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when you look at it like this, it looks very drip. Like,
At least it isn't an SUV. So.
exactly, and it's not an SUV. And both this thing and this thing have snuck into SUV news. So look, there's so much SUV news.
The fact that you can do that in 1 week is ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh my, there is too many SUVs.
SUVs should be banned. Like,
They
if I ever
really
get
should
Prime
be.
Minister, they're banned.
Exactly.
That's my first day in office.
This was the Animosity podcast. The level of rant I would have just got into about the current state of the UK. All the British listeners can
British
rejoice.
moments, am I right?
Exactly. Yeah. Don't worry. We're not everything's doom and gloom. It's just everything but like -1, and that being this podcast.
Yeah.
Two sort of, I see them as, I guess, rivals, but they're sort of both in the same button heads. Both of them got new cars, and I believe only one of them's EV, but I think the other one could be EV. Both prestige cars. One was even featured in SUVs of the week last week, but we got an EV Rolls Royce
Oh.
and a new Bentley. And honestly,
That Bentley just looks like a modern Mulliner Backler.
yeah, I mean, it's coupe, which is a lot better, but I mean, the Bentley looks, I don't know.
Would you pay the probably 400 grand they're asking for it though?
Oh, no, but I'd like...
Why is there a construction site in the background of the photo shoot?
Yeah. They really just drove through the slums
They're
of
just
London.
like, yeah, sure. Who'd use this for a photo?
Yeah. The back looks bad. The back looks...
Getting loaded onto a trailer, as every Bentley should, on the way to the
Exactly,
scrapyard.
yeah. They're rounding up all the Bentleys. But yeah, the back looks bad. IMO.
No, you can tell how massive it is, right? Go to the image of it on the trailer. Look how close the wheels are to the edge.
Yeah.
It's just unnecessarily big, as average car.png is these days.
The Bentley Butter. And
That's a
I don't
garbage
believe
name.
it is, yeah. It doesn't look EV though. I mean,
Doesn't.
I couldn't say, but it's not got that style. The style that, I mean, neither did that Jeep, but it doesn't. It's not got that style which.
If it's an EV, it's probably the most reliable Bentley. So.
yeah, true. But yeah, it looks like a bit more of a curvaceous Bentley.
It's just a Bentley. It's sure.
I'd say it's one step removed from the Mulliner Backler. I'd say the Mulliner Backler's a bit.
They're
too...
related, but they're not.
Yeah. That one's way too
direct.
over-designed, I'd say. I'd say the Mulliner Backler's a bit too over-designed. This thing tones it down, and
It's
I think
almost
that's all
scraping, leaving a driveway.
yeah. And
On
like
stock suspension, like
a
Jesus
175 degree angle, and it's yeah. It's just shocking.
You live on a hill, good luck.
Yeah, but it looks like a fine car for some.
It looks like a car. If I saw it, I'd be like, that's a
guy.
Bentley, I guess.
And then the
If I
Rolls
saw
Royce,
that, it should be executed on the spot.
but is it the first? It's the first ever EV Rolls Royce. What did they do to? They just gave it a line instead of a headlight.
It's got
and said
lines
it's an EV.
instead of headlights and a crater where the headlights should be, I guess.
The rest of it really is just a Rolls. Like,
It's slightly more curvy and modern than a Phantom, but like...
But I mean, what does the modern Phantom look like? I guarantee the modern Phantom probably just looks like that.
I've seen a load of older Phantom, but never a modern one.
Yeah, because that just looks like I genuinely think.
To be fair, it is more curvy. The Phantom has a flat bonnet that's slightly.
Oh yeah,
curved.
yeah, I see that.
That looks awful. I'm
Yeah, you know what?
discontinued
Okay,
that immediately.
it's better than whatever this was. To be
I
fair.
take it back. It's
Never
better
mind.
than the Phantom.
This thing gets away. Okay, this thing's definitely okay.
Unironically, an improvement.
Yeah, okay, yeah. In my head, I thought Rolls Royces were slightly better looking default than they actually are. This is definitely an improvement.
Whoever,
It
it makes sense why I've never seen a newer Phantom. Because if you brought one of those,
Yeah.
you deserve to be scammed. Like,
this looks more like an acceptable car than just a brick to be driven around in.
You could get out of that and be respected. If you got out of the other thing, you don't deserve to get out of it.
Exactly. Like, this thing will probably be in, like, Johnny English 5 or whatever they're on now, and I'd accept it, right? They'd make a point, they'd be like, oh my god, it's EV, and Johnny English would say funny thing like, oh...
He'd read the spec, they'd read the spec sheet, they'd have to get that in there.
He'd be like, yeah, how many Vs is this engine? And then they'll be like, actually, Johnny, it's an EV.
It's 0, because it's an EV.
It's
saving the planet.
Exactly. He's standing right behind me, isn't
saving
he?
the planet and the world.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, they did make another Johnny. They're on like a third one. I think the third one.
Yeah, they make them, I guess.
Yeah, but you know what? I think that both of these things get an okay, I guess.
They're mid. Like
compared to the SUVs of the week, I think
if you buy one of them, you have too much money. Like buy something decent.
But like I understand though, right? Like I would never if I had that much money. But if you're someone who is the kind of person to buy a Rolls,
like an Aventador SVJ would never depreciate as much as a Rolls Royce Spectre will. I guarantee it. You're like,
but I mean,
just
buy
a nice car.
Yeah. The way I see it, but for me, both of these cars, like a Bentley is for a rich person who wants to drive. A Rolls is for a rich person who wants to be driven around.
I've never seen someone being driven in a Rolls Royce.
Have you not?
Every single time I've seen one, they're always... They're way too big. And no one can drive them. No one who drives a Rolls Royce can actually drive. Because they're like 70 plus and have infinite money. Like,
oh yeah, I guess it's all old people, yeah. And Rolls still Rolls don't give out their licenses to any games or anything. They're still sort of...
Good. I don't want to Phantom in a game.
No, but Bentley's definitely the more socially... The fact that they let racing games have their cars is the kind of thing I mean. Like, Rolls is definitely still a bit up themselves with their own prestige still, more than Bentley.
Do they have any prestige left? Like,
just
when was
the
last time
people,
someone
really
flexed buying a Rolls Royce?
No, I mean, we don't know many drug dealers, I guess. So
they buy C classes.
I guess so. But yeah, these two came out recently. But I mean, there might be more, but we're already over an hour, and we're coming to the final segments of the old episode. So I don't think there's too much more that I could bring up. I mean, I guess I won't talk on it too much. There was a
nice.
Never mind. Okay, there we go. There's this thing.
Loading like a typewriter. There we go.
Yeah, an Audi thing.
It looks cool, but it's a one-off, so I mean, Matt, I guess.
And
it's an e-tron GT with a front and rear spoiler. Sure.
Oh, you put sound cameras in the old
that's just a joke. That's an average British government L.
What is it? Because to me, sound
another reason never to go to Birmingham is what it is, right? But because they're in Birmingham now.
Yeah.
But if you have an exhaust louder than the legal limit, which is 78 for a car, which is an odd number, and 83 for a bike, another arbitrary number they've pulled out of the air.
Yeah.
Right? If it's louder than that, it records that. I don't know for what reason. I have no idea. It takes a photo of your number plate and then finds you.
Sends it to the biggest nerd in the UK. Like literally like a Poindexter. Like big
and then
glasses
it fines you
together.
£50 for a first offence.
Oh,
why?
That is... They really want their money.
It's the fact that the limits are so unbelievably low. 83, right, for a bike.
Arbitrary.
But 83 is arbitrary, sure, yeah. But my bike is 2021, right? Its stock exhaust is 97.
Also, why are they finding us? Why, like, huh?
Stock exhausts break the they break the legal limit. Whatever car manufacturers do to get past these rules, I want to know, because it's actually quite surprising.
Look, I mean, that's what I mean. Why are they finding us?
In California, a guy got a fix-it ticket, which is fix your car, basically.
Yeah.
In an Elantra N, we don't get it here, but it's like a Hyundai sedan N version, because it was too loud. And yeah, like, It's the stock exhaust. Stock exhausts
Yeah.
are louder than legal sound limits now.
It's
And
like,
But if you got imagine, right, you live down a road where there is one of these cameras, right, and you have to go
yeah,
past it, and your car is louder than the limit, but it's stock exhaust, so you get a ticket every single day,
Yep.
and you would have to fight every single ticket,
Yep.
and you would win because it's the stock exhaust. You've done nothing wrong.
exactly.
Right?
At that point, it's not your
But it's the
problem.
fact you would have to fight every single ticket or pay £50 every single time.
Well, I assume it's
It's
automated,
just-
so they'd come to you every single
yeah.
time. So
It's a money-making scheme. It's all it
Yeah.
is. I didn't put it in there, but when the ULEZ was expanded, the ultra-low
Yeah.
emission zone for London, it's made 90 million in a month.
yeah,
But it's not about money. It's not about money. It's not about money. It's fine. It's about road safety.
exactly. Well, who's gonna fund the politicians' holiday homes? You know?
True, true.
It really just comes down to that. We're
I mean,
doing
how
our
much
part.
do you hear economy's taking it out? They probably need it
Yeah.
at this point.
Did you hear they were we spent like 19 million or something on their food for their like House of Commons or whatever. We
Yeah.
spent 19 million on their food.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
one of them was complaining about it. He was like, "There's only so much salmon salad or whatever that a man can eat." Cope?
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
we're apparently
They're on 80 grand a year starting, by the way.
and they complain about that. Like it's
And they can write off on expenses. Liz Truss, in 2 years, she's been a politician, write off 127 grand in expenses.
it's
But it's not
shocking.
enough. It's
Yep.
not enough, apparently. But sound cameras are a joke because they're targeted so low.
Yeah.
If your car has the stock exhaust, you get fined.
Yep.
Let alone having a non-standard exhaust.
Mm.
It's just a money make. Like, I can understand.
I mean,
right?
if it's the stock
if it's
exhaust, you get away
certain
with it, right?
times in
Yeah.
like, if it's center like AMK for example, and
Give
it's
it a curfew.
past 11 p.m.
Yeah.
Sure, I guess, but like.
If you gave it a curfew, I'd be like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah,
Right.
it's the fact that if it was past 11 p.m., you can't be X amount loud.
Still a bit of
Sure,
a nerd
I
emoji,
guess
but it's
people
like-
deserve to sleep.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that it could be midday on a Tuesday, and,
Yeah.
and like, you're just driving past in your stock car and get a £50 fine.
Yep. It's,
Just
it's
because
the
the
dumbest
government's
thing.
nerd emojing you, IRL.
Exactly. But if it's a stock exhaust, you get away with it. You have to
You'd
fight
have to
it
fight the
still,
ticket.
but
You'd have to fight the ticket,
it,
yeah.
But you would get away with it if it was the stock exhaust. Because in my head, it's like
You should. They haven't
Yeah.
actually confirmed that yet, but you
I was
you
gonna
should.
say, yeah, because it's like, why are you finding us?
I wouldn't be
Talk to the
surprised if a British
manufacturers.
government L number 2 would be just fining you for the stock exhaust.
Yeah. Well, it's like
If you own a Lamborghini or like at a sports car, you're screwed. Move out Birmingham at that
Is it-
point. Just
It's kind of similar to I think they only do this in London, emission zones.
yeah, ULEZ
Yeah.
and
yeah.
Oxford now, and they're going to try and move it to I think Birmingham as well. Birmingham's becoming an L.
Yeah.
If it wasn't
If it
already.
wasn't already, yeah. It's like that kind of thing. It's like bloody hell. We'll talk to them back. What are you? Why were you coming at us for?
Right. The ULEZ makes no sense. You can buy the Range Rover Sport V8 supercharged, right?
Yeah.
Supercharged V8 is ULEZ compliant, right?
Yeah.
But a Citroen C3 isn't.
Okay. Yeah.
Like an RXA, right? 90 miles to the gallon is the very bottom. Like it's red on the emissions tag on the government website.
Yep.
Is ULEZ compliant?
Yeah.
But a C3 is a
You know
a
what I
small
say?
inline 4 is just inline 3 now for C3s.
Yep. I say everyone should just cycle. That's what it comes down to. Every
If everyone
single
cycled,
person-
the roads would be free for me. So yeah, everyone.
Everyone
cycle.
except Josh should cycle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Make the world a better place. I didn't make
exactly.
petrol cheaper.
But from there, I will take us into the gaming news of the week. Today, it is the Demons Unleashed Summit in the Crew 2 Ubisoft Ivory Tower. This week, we got the Lamborghini Reventon added to the game, along with whatever I can come up with to stall once I actually find whatever is going on in Forza.
It's the Halloween summit, isn't it?
We got a Halloween themed summit. We got the Lamborghini Reventon. You also get the Ghost Hunt Combi for gold, Halloween Pumpkin Rooftop for platinum in the weekly challenge event thing for the whatever. Okay, Forza, where are you and what are you doing?
2 weeks till the next summit car.
Yeah, so
Which is,
next week is nothing, but then we get a Vulcan Duke in touring as the reward 2 weeks from now. Forza is currently still in their 10-year anniversary seasonal. I can't seem to find what the current thing is.
It's second week of it, so it's Forza Horizon 2 themed.
Is it? Okay.
It will be.
When did they post it? Have they posted it?
I don't think they do.
No, because I've got their news thing, but I swear they're supposed to post it.
But yeah, it's not that interesting. There's the new car. Is. Yeah. I remember actually.
There's a rival event against a Corvette.
Is that?
Apparently. Do they have one of all of the seasonal things? God, okay. Well, see, that last week they did post, because they posted the summer one with the Ferrari 599XX, the Barracuda, etc. They posted that, but for some reason they just are refusing to post whatever is the weekly seasonal thing for this. So, I guess we'll never know.
I guess you'll never know.
There's like a minivan, isn't there? They got a minivan recently.
Oh, I sent you it, the wheeling.
Is that out now?
That was, I think it's out till Thursday, or was out till Thursday, one of the two.
Yeah, well, it's this. Did you say it's the second week? Because
the Wuling Sunshine.
Yeah.
That's the series reward, actually. No, never mind. That's series reward.
Oh, that's the series reward. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, damn. Well, people are getting that now, then, I guess, because we're in the second week of the seasonal. I guess I could have tried to get that. I don't know. Would have made a good video. I need to play more Forza for videos, because videos on, like, a new car do well enough that I can justify it. I
doubt the Wuling Sunshine's breaking any records.
I don't know.
Reviews,
it's fun enough that I think it would. It's fun enough that I think it would. No new news on TDU, obviously.
Gran Turismo got new cars.
Yeah. No. Gran Turismo got 33% more car than usual. Normally they only had 3. Apparently they got 4 cars this time around.
You got a Maserati.
Yeah, and like they got like the not Mazda 3. Like it's the Mazda 3.
The 2000 GT or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
3000, one of the Nissans.
So what were these cars? One of them was like a... Oh no, I thought it was a muscle car, but it was just the front of this not Mazda 3. But they got 4 cars. Here they are. So it was a Nissan GTR, a Maserati that looks a lot like a Ferrari, an MX-5, like a newer one. The GTR and MX-5 are more actually track looking. And then, yeah, this thing that looks like if you shoved an American muscle car into a Mazda 3, RX-3.
It's the 3000 GT for yeah.
Yeah, and that thing. But yeah, that happened in GT7 this week. Need for Speed got its third content drop. It was to do with the police chases, which are coming back. There's a whole system with it. There's going to be a risk-reward thing, and also weekly content. There will be a weekly summit style with reward, doing stuff through the week, earning police chases, whatever, will be in the game. And I think that is an all-around plus. Yeah, that will improve the game's longevity, most definitely, as long as it keeps going and there's on-theme and there's new things and whatnot. At the moment, it just seems like it's like Land Rover Defender is the reward. Crown Vic is the reward. So it's not exactly exclusive cars.
Land Rover Defender is a banger reward.
Yeah, it's not exactly exclusive cars, but it is cars. But yeah, so there was that drop. WRC Generation gets crossplay confirmed. Koenigsegg Agera returns to Forza Horizon 5. Is that this week? I assume it is if it's in there. It was on the 20th, 2 days ago.
I'm sorry the loop of Forza.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Okay, so the early 2010s breed of the Koenigsegg is in the game now. The original Agera rather than the Agera R, which is in places in games. But yeah, they're on Forza Horizon 2. Frontier working on next F1 manager update. NASCAR rival... Oh, no, that's just a review. Car X Android.
Like, what don't they? They're about like Car X infrastructure, so yeah, it's just a Sims game.
Yeah, but they're doing what they're doing. And that will conclude the gaming segment. I mean, what have I been doing this week for gaming?
Nothing.
I don't know. Nothing, no.
Not
I guess...
much. No.
My job for the crew too, I guess.
Playing the crew.
I played a bit of Hot Pursuit, which I like, so I play that. Other than that,
There's a good reason to play a game, to be fair.
I mean,
There's
I don't think I played anything
play.
else. No, I mean, maybe I think I turned on Driver San Francisco, but then I was like, not right now.
It's like, yeah, there's like, I like one race in F1. Loaded up the crew and closed it immediately. Loaded up Forza, closed that immediately. Sat in the lobby of Apex.
Did I start DriftWaj this week?
Yeah, I think it's very... She didn't announce it in the last episode.
Did I announce it in the last episode? Well,
I don't think you did. I don't think you mentioned it last episode.
Yeah, so, first episode of DriftWaj, first video of DriftWaj is the 14th, which is not a week ago, I don't think. Oh, my maths. Okay, I got called out for my maths in Reddit. So, 14, 7, 21? So I guess it would have been just before the last episode. So yeah, it would have been last week, but yeah. I did play a bit of Dirt 4. I hopped on the wheel because I plugged the wheel back in for DriftWaj, and I did play a bit of Dirt 4, and that was fun. It's nice enough of a niche to hop into.
Yeah.
But from the gaming segment onto, I don't think there is enough to really talk about. But to end off the
more
show,
of my complaints about the driver picks, but yeah.
yeah, the Motorsports segment.
Motorsports
Motorsports Monday.
Well, like, I watched FP1, half of FP2 because it went on till 12:30 at night, and then I gave up because it was the Pirelli tire test. So I actually learned nothing from that. It was just Sainz. No, was it Sainz? It was I think Leclerc, Ricciardo, and Tsunoda, I think, were on normal tires, and everyone else was on tire test. So I learned absolutely nothing from that. Which was fun, I guess. I actually gave up. I couldn't be bothered.
Yeah.
But in free practice 1, because now all the teams have to have junior drivers in, because sure, because no one does it early in the season. They've all basically left into the last 4 races. We got Robert Schwartzman, Alex Palau, I probably mispronounced that, Theo Pourchaire, and Logan Sargent as the junior drivers. And then Giovinazzi was in that is pronounced wrong. I'm just going to go with Gio. Gio was in the Haas. He's not a junior driver. He was just there for the fun of it. Because Haas need a new driver, right? They don't need a new driver. They want a new driver.
Yeah.
And essentially this was Antonio's test run, like to see if he gets the seat. He crashed on lap 3. He binned it into a wall and broke the clutch. So that was... I guarantee you he's not getting that seat next year now. But none of the juniors were that quick, really. Considering the amount of sim time they've had, I think the closest was it Alex, I think? And they're not going to choose him because they've got, I think they've got Piastri and Lando next year, so they're not going to choose Alex for next year. So I don't know why he's even there, to be honest. But Haas want a new driver when I reckon they should just keep Mick one more year, and then if he's bad, change him. But Williams, right? They want Logan Sargent because he's American.
Yeah.
He finished 3rd in F3, no, 3rd F4, 2nd in F3. And he's currently, I think, 4th or 3rd in F2. But which he's not bad, right? Obviously, if he's coming to top 3 in Formula Series, he's not bad.
Yeah.
But why not just have the winner? Just take the winner, because I'm sure no one's going to say no to an F1 seat.
Or stick with Latifi. There's
Latifi would be funny bad, but Sargent is currently 3rd or 4th in F2, and they want him for an F1 seat. Anyone, and Daniel Ricciardo would not say no to an F1 seat, and because he drove for McLaren, but he's been doing quite bad at McLaren, so they brought out the rest of his contract, and he's not going to have a seat next year.
Yeah.
I kind of he's won a world championship, I think, if I remember correctly, with Red Bull. So he would never say no to Williams seat.
Yeah.
I just don't. Why do they want Sargent? Having him because he's American isn't a good reason to have him.
Being American with the surname Sargent is kind of cool, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. Like, he's young, sure, but I just can't. Realistically, they want someone better than Albon. Because even if, right, Williams are 1.7 seconds off the top of the grid at the minute with their current car, which is tragic. I don't know how much of that is Latifi, but none of it's Latifi, actually. Latifi's the guy.
Latifi is carrying Williams right now. They're sick of being carried. That's what it is.
But having Sargent and Albon, even if they made, like, third best car next year, I can't see them really fighting that hard for podiums.
Yeah.
Because, sure, if the Mercedes is a worse car than the Williams, the Mercedes will finish ahead of the Williams just because Russell and Hamilton are good. Albon can score. He will be able to get a few podiums if they have a good car. I can't see Sargent. If Sargent beats Albon next year, like a point score overall, it'll be a miracle. I mean, if they keep him for 2, I can't even see him beating him second year.
Yeah.
He's just not. He might prove me wrong. You know, he might win the world championship next year.
Exactly.
But I can't see him being a good choice.
Yeah.
And then Haas trying to choose between Antonio, Nico Hulkenberg, and Mick Schumacher is just wild. Antonio is tragic. He was. Kimi was beating him when he was like 41. So yeah. In Alfa Romeo that as well. Nico Hulkenberg hasn't really raced in a while. I don't really see the point of having. I've completely forgotten his name. His name is escaped me. Second Haas driver. I do know it. He's just gone. But I can't believe I've forgotten his name. It's because I've thought of Nico Hulkenberg. I can't remember it. Nico Hulkenberg is taking up too much brain space, but yeah.
Was it either Schumer or Magnesium?
Kevin Magnussen, that's the one.
That's the one.
Magnesium.
That's what I read. Yeah.
K-Mag he's been in F1 for a while. I think it's his 8th season, I think. So he knows how to like relay setup and like changes that needs to be made, and he has the experience in the team. And Mick Schumacher's like the rookie that they can train up. Why have 2 people who have been in F1 for a while that aren't that great?
Yeah.
And a team that's going to be stuck at the back of the grid. Because like they have the 3rd worst car this season. But Aston Martin and Williams are the bottom 2 by far.
Yeah.
Well, the Haas can at least fight for points when it needs to. The other 2, yeah. Because Schumacher's teammate last year was Mazepin, and and then they changed regulations this year, and he's got Magnussen. This is essentially his first proper season in a car that can actually drive. Because the Haas last year was tragic.
Yeah.
Because they didn't do any development on it, so I was saving for this year, and then end up 3rd last. But it's. Keep him for another year. If he's bad, kick him out. Because he's only 0.1 off K-Mag in qualifying.
Yeah.
That's basically all I had to say. I don't agree with Haas's team selection. And Williams choosing Sargent because he's American is a skill issue,
I back Kevin Magnesium. That's who I back, so... Oh, well.
Sid is a true K-Mag supporter.
Exactly. But
Nico Hulkenberg stole his name out of my skull.
Yeah.
I can't believe I forgot that.
But that is going to be about it for the... My brain keeps wanting to say Animosity Podcast, and it hurts me every time. But that's going to be about it for the Stick Drift Podcast. Thank you,
Yep, if you've watched this long, comment I love the Champions League. I don't know.
Exactly. Yes, because we're all big football fans.
Everyone
here.
here is big football
We
fan.
play the
yeah.
football every
Football, football
the
like
Sunday
Rocket League, chat.
Exactly.
Football,
But
Rocket League.
that's about it from us. So, obviously, subscribe with notifications on. Podcast out every single Sunday.
And then watch it 3 times over for watch time.
So we can get monetized. That would be appreciated.
Yeah.
But that's going to be about it from us. All right. See you boys next week.
Yep.